And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey Sunday Encounters. Hope everyone's doing all right. I'm here, just kind of hanging out, just for a little bit. I'm not necessarily hosting. This is Daniela's show and Iron Dogger. It's their show. I just wanted to show up because Rick was going to be here, so here I am talking, running my mouth, and I'll try not to do too much talking. But I'm Carrie. Daniela's here with us. Iron Dogger, the Sunday crew is here, and thank you guys for letting me elbow in. I really want to say it. I just do, and I know if I do, something's going to happen. But I'm going to say it anyway because I'm really excited.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm going to do it because it's there. I worked on the film for 6 hours. I got about 2 minutes of a montage left at the end, and it'll be done completely. So tomorrow, I'll finish it. Maybe tonight. I don't know. It just depends. If I got an alarm to catch or anything. But I'm probably going to finish the film either tonight or tomorrow. And we'll put it out Saturday to premiere. We might let the... can we do that? Where the members only can see it?
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably put it out for members maybe Wednesday after the show. Let the members watch it. But probably premiere it Saturday. We'll have the guys on Friday night for the late show. And talk about it, and then we'll put it out Saturday. Hope you guys are ready. I don't think I am. It's only been 7 months. I've only been putting it together for 7 weeks. So you got all that other time I was just going through footage, but actually putting stuff in to edit since September 25th. So
it's exciting.
Yeah. I'm really very nervous about it, but I'm also proud of it at the same time. I think it's the best thing. It's the best thing we've ever done, anyway. But hey, enough about that. Our guest is with us, Rick Taylor. Welcome back. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. Just excited to share. Going to try to slow down a little bit this time.
No, look, like we said, you weren't going fast. You just didn't leave any spaces in there. That's all.
Hey, my passion for these elusive subjects rises when I share that. Carrie, folks, I just love. I don't try to prove anything to anybody. I just like to share what I've have, little nuggets and stuff.
Absolutely, let people decide for themselves.
Exactly.
That's the best thing to do.
Exactly.
Me, normally, I'll just back in like Shaq in the low post, just kind of make room. But I'll get my words in there somehow. Some people don't like that. They think we're here to entertain them. And that's just not why we're here. We're here. This is about information, and we're going to dig. We're going to ask questions, and we're going to have discussions about things. There's plenty of people out there that are putting out stories. They're telling people stories, and Sasquatch Chronicles, Wes lets people go through their whole story, does an absolutely fantastic job. It's not what we do here. We go through the story piece by piece and get as much information out as we can in real time, because if I don't do that, I'll forget. I don't want to go back 30 minutes to try to remember something that somebody else said. So we do it in the moment. So that's it's about information here, and that's all. So saying that, Rick, you sent some more pictures, right? You got
yes, I did.
To talk about?
Yes. Most people are like me. For decades, I said if they were out there, I should have seen them. I should have heard them. A lot of people take that stance. Well, I can tell you, standing out there with a scope rifle in your hand, these subjects know you're there, and they're not stupid. Now, occasionally, the law of averages, there will be a hunter that does get one in their sights and their scope, and the overwhelming majority are asked, why didn't you shoot it? And they said they look too human-like, and a good hunter is not going to shoot something he's not, stalking as, food or anything. But there are reasons for us not seeing them. And we have 5 senses: smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. And yet we don't take in everything that's out there with our senses. We miss stuff, and there's reasons for it. The first photo that I presented or have shows exactly the visible scale of light that we actually see. And are you going to put it up, or how are we going to work this? Is there a button I push?
And Danielle is pretty good.
Yeah,
she kind of catches the hints of what you're hinting at, I think.
Well, the first picture is just basically a scale of the electromagnetic scale that covers, from gamma rays all the way up to, there it is. Okay. And you see that little pyramid going to that little bitty line right there in the middle. That's the visible spectrum of light that we see. But yet you've got all of this infrared. You've got the ultraviolet, and then, of course, you go way off the scale in the others. But we see very little of the energy that exists there. If something is emitting or reflecting light out of that scale, we're not going to see it. It's going to be invisible to the human eye. Machines, and different things will pick it up. Also, the next picture is the audible scale that we hear, the auditory field. You can see it kind of going to either the band really narrows as you get close to the ultrasound, or down at the lower infrasound, which there's a lot of people that have done studies there. But you see the conversational area is right in the middle. But there's a whole lot of sound, folks, that we won't hear or not hear very well. And I've picked up stuff on microphones that many of the researchers out in the field, we didn't hear it at the time, but our digital recorders picked it up, and it was verbiage. It was actually stuff being spoken, and, don't have an easy explanation for it, but it was out of that scale. I try to be objective out there. I try to understand. And honestly, Carrie and ladies, there's stuff that's happened out there I don't have any answers for. I open up more cans of worms sometimes than I close when you're out there. If anybody's seriously out there researching, that'll happen to them. I don't have the light and see my list there. Just put up the next photo or picture that I sent you. Okay, they're not going to be able to see that well. Let's go to the next one. I'm not trying to.
Should we do this one?
Yeah, this is another example of things we don't see. 1 cubic meter of air at 77 degrees contains 22 grams of water. To put it into better perspective, it's about 3/4 of a shot glass that people can identify too. There are reasons for us for not seeing this, and that you could go into the suspension and what the molecules are doing. But this is all real stuff that we're not seeing. And these Sasquatch subjects do some incredible things. I don't have easy answers, but there are reasons why a lot of people do not see them. The next photo I have,
Rick, I think there's plenty of people that have plenty of theories. I don't think anybody has any definitive answer, even though it may be asserted that they do. And I just ask these people to show me something. And you're right. For the majority of people, they believe if this creature exists, we should see it. We should be up walking through the woods. Every hoax picture you ever saw is of somebody in a suit out there kicking around, walking up right through the woods. And that's just not normal behavior that we know of for these creatures. Obviously, they're hard to catch on camera. They're hard to see. They just don't want to be seen. I think if more people would look at the subject from the position that they do exist and not if they exist, look at it from that point of view. These creatures exist. Now, what is the answer? The answers start to come a little bit easier then.
Absolutely. Wow. I totally agree. This next photo was taken in Central Texas. This is the actual distance. We're on a low water bridge. I was with one, two, three, four other researchers. One of them, I'm looking probably a 45-degree angle off of the low water bridge that we're standing on. It was just a little trail there. And one of the researchers stopped and said, I saw movement. I saw movement. And I said, where, and between those trees, you see the red circle. He had pointed out that slanting, shadowy object at the upper right side of that circle is a fallen tree. It had fallen over, and he said, I saw movement right by that fallen tree. And so I keyed on it, and this is one of the first frames of the video I began to shoot. This is when I zoomed in at telephoto, and those leaves are from a tree about 10 yards in front of the subject. In other words, he's not looking through those leaves. Those leaves are about 10 yards closer to me. And when you telephoto in, it gives you this image. So it's not a little doll face hanging in the limbs. He is actually back there. If you look down, straight down from the face there at the top, there's a stump that he's actually peering over the top of, and you can make out his left shoulder and his head. And I'm just videoing through the gaps of those leaves. They may have blocked me out of him getting a clear view of me, but his eyes, he's not looking straight at me. He's looking off to my left. And it was probably about this time in the video, a fast-paced thumping of footsteps hit that low water bridge behind us, and all of us twisted and jumped. I thought we were being charged, from behind, and it was this young, very well in shape lady jogger wearing a skin-tight spandex jogging suit. And of course, my age, I didn't notice that.
Sure.
But she worked out and was a racehorse. Okay. I even while I'm videoing this subject, I took a second glance. Okay. She distracted me for a second. That subject was watching that lady jogger on the trail. They weren't interested in me. And I didn't notice that till later, the direction that subject there was looking. I dropped down to try to get those tree leaves out of the picture. I stopped. I was standing there. I stopped. I dropped down to a knee and zoomed back in, and the subject was gone. Now, the chances of most people not, looking for anything, Carrie and ladies, they wouldn't have seen that. I didn't see it. I wasn't looking right that direction, but the sharp eye of one of the researchers caught it, and I was fortunate enough to zoom in to catch that subject. But in most cases, Carrie, people wouldn't have seen it,
Well, I saw what I saw looked like it was looking straight at the camera. I could see two eyes. You could even see the white. You could see the white in the eyes. That's right there toward the top right. If you're to me, it's between the two leaves on the top right.
Yep, that's it. That's it, right there in the
like
center.
It's looking dead at the camera. I mean, it's still blurry, but it's distance. But you can still see. That's
he was looking. Yeah, he was looking our direction. I kind of zoomed in and looked at it, but it was very exciting. I caught some other stuff there. I wish I could send the video, but it's too large for my email. I guess I could send it in another file attachment, and it's pretty interesting.
Is it on your YouTube channel?
No, maybe I need to just download it to YouTube, and then I could give you the links. There's a lot of stuff where I've got third-party voices that I don't want to put somebody's voice out on social media without them giving me the heads up on that. It's respectful. It's the right thing to do. Next picture that I sent you.
I think we talked about this.
We talked about this. Yeah, that was on the trail. This is the regular distance. The next one is there he is, holding a stick You can see his right hand to your far left. You can see the thumb and probably the part of his palm. And he's holding this long, almost cue stick straight stick with these two leaves. And this is an enhanced, clip from it. But I was using a fill-in flash, and his right eye is actually reflecting the fill-in flash to the left of that green leaf in the center of his face. And his right eye, his left eye to your right is not, it's not reflecting the fill-in flash. But the chances of seeing these subjects hiding that well, again, it's difficult. We saw the movement. It was a blur about 75 yards up. We knew the direction it headed. And I just raced up there, and that was one of several pictures I took at the time. Later, going through them, I saw, I picked him out, but that was the day I had my first visual sighting through binoculars. It was, July 24th, 2010. The next picture, let's see. This is over in East Texas. 528 yards up this ridge, approximately where that arrow is pointing. He actually called out to me, and in the YouTube video that we looked at last time, you can hear one of the calls. If he hadn't called out and drew my attention up there, the chances of me seeing him, no way, not at 528 yards, but Shelby County, Texas, and that was on 2/12 of 2012. Then the clip from my video of him. The next, well, let me back up. This is the There's the close. Go ahead.
Do you want this one? Sorry, do you want this one? Yeah.
Yeah, that one's fine. These are offset dogleg crooks in loblolly pine trees that grow straight and tall. I couldn't get up there and get a tape measure down, but I estimated it to be about 50, the ones on the right, 50 to 60 feet high. And that was the perch. That was the perch that the big guy was sitting in, is the one that looks like 2 or 3 pines kind of come together in the right circle, right lower side. He was just sitting up there, watching us. A forester told me in order for this to happen, you have to break the dominant feeder on a little sapling early in its life to get that dogleg crook, which one of the side branch feeders then becomes the dominant vertical feeder, and you'll get this dog leg. Now, I could see one getting damaged like that as a young tree, but these all are located on a tactically high ridge where in that position, it would give you a clear 360-degree vision of that hillside. It makes a very perfect watchtower, if you will. Could it be these things were done or broken this way early in their life for this to occur later? I don't know. It's supposition, but it's pretty interesting. Now, sadly, that ridge has now been clear cut by forestry concerns. I don't know where the big guys, moved on from there. Next picture is the close up.
We had a guy on Friday night. That had the same thing going on. Just trying to elbow in here, Rick. Just going from one thing to the next again.
Okay, I'm sorry. Any questions?
Okay.
Questions
okay.
are coming.
Okay. So there's some things that we would like to discuss, I think, between the three of us, as you're going along here.
Sure.
I know you're used to doing presentations, so I understand the format that you're used to. But you see that turn in the tree. We had JC on Friday, and it showed where it just looked like the tree had been broken, and then it kept growing. So it just followed the sun and just turned like that. It was still the main part of the tree, and I'm not sure that that's the case with these. but
it could be. I mean, I didn't get up there and inspect it closely. Sure. I'm not. Now, the thing about the trees, the base showed scuff marks, and my theory is these strong, long-armed subjects go up and down those like a coconut harvester. They could wrap their arms around the back side of that trunk and just shimmy up and down it, up and down, just like those coconut harvesters you see in the South Pacific.
Well, my question is this: is that what all these breaks we see are? Future posts, maybe 20 or 30 years from now. But is that what they're doing? Is maybe hoping one day that this is going to turn into something they can for later.
Yeah, chairs for later.
In Alaska, we have a lot of marker trees, and that was something that they did. The natives do that. You can see that on almost all of the dog sledding trails. You'll see these marker trees, and that's what they're for. And, like they've done that, historically, humans have done that, so it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to say, that would be something, that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe, do themselves,
Absolutely.
I think as well.
Next picture, I know.
Well, I was going to just say,
the next.
It's interesting how many times I've heard people saying if they hadn't have heard them, they wouldn't have known they were there. It's like they want to hide, but then there's those who are hearing them and then trying to seek them out. So
it's a strange dichotomy. It is. Yeah. It's almost juxtaposed. It's hide, but let's mess with you just a little bit to see if you can see us.
It depends on the person too. I've seen them throw stuff at a person in our party that was very nervous. They were very upset, and they didn't bother anybody else. All of the objects never were hit, but landed close enough, kind of like messing with a chicken or something, nudging a chicken and watching it squawk and move. They were doing that with the most nervous person there. And what's the next picture I have?
It's this one.
Okay, that's the big guy sitting up in the tree. His left hand is down there, wrapped around. You can kind of see his knuckles wrapped around. I know it's 508 yards, 28 yards, but
do you have the zoomed out version of it? Just to get some context.
I could probably. It's all from the video.
Okay. And that's the problem with stuff like this that's so zoomed in is what's going on around it, and nobody else has seen it. So it looks like it's 5 feet away.
I got you. Yeah.
You can you can actually share the video if you can play it at your end. You can share sections of it, play it.
Okay.
From your end if you want to. But
if
you're not set up, it's fine. We'll do that next time, eh?
I'm techno challenged.
There you go. We'll do it next time.
That's why I have this one.
Now.
Oh no, I learned to point the other way a long time ago. See here, I know you're down there. Yep. But if I do this, I know she's right there. So, like
That's good. That's good. That's good. The next series, this is in northern Wisconsin. You can see the Jeep parked on the parking area just off the access road. You can see the tall tree trunks there. And over to the right, you kind of see this dark horizontal or just this clump of thermal signature there to the right of the trees. Now, I was up here with a group of about 8 people, and basically this subject, we were down the trail from the Jeep back to my back, probably 50 yards, and we were in a row of 8 chairs, and on the end of the furthest chair from that row, if you turned off the trail, was a clinical psychologist that dealt with troubled children. Okay. And we had set up there on that pristine lake, just chilling out, see what was going to happen. It was an area of activity. And this lady on the end kept saying something is, she said, did you hear that? And she was pretty much a newbie in this field research stuff. And everybody else turned to her and we said, no. She said, you didn't hear that? And I said, no, we didn't. She was being bluff charged, and repeatedly she would hear these footsteps coming through the thick brush, her direction. And I finally heard the pitter patter, and basically they sounded small. They didn't sound like big guys. They sounded more like children. I just thought that it was kind of, a little bit of a coincidence that the only person there that works with children had possibly small, big guys, charging them. Well, the lady that was with us gave out at one point. We weren't thumping trees or anything like that. And I'll share it maybe sometime. There's a lot of dialogue in it. I'm trying to figure out how I can get around all of the voices. But within about 5 seconds of her giving out, and man, the scream made my hair stand up on the back of my neck. We heard a very distant, audible call. It was so far away we couldn't figure out exactly what it was, but it began to come closer, and closer over the period of a couple of minutes, which I think might have been a form of triangulation on locating the position of where the call came from. And then at that point, I'm down there, I see eye shine back up behind the Jeep, and other people see it. So I chose to go back up the trail, and with my FLIR, and coming back up the trail, I was paralleled. Well, this picture here is a close-up of one of them down on their elbows, it looks like, and they're in about waist-high salt grass. Okay, if you stood over there, it would probably come up to your mid chest, maybe, or waist, between waist high to chest high, and this guy's down in it. Well, when I seen him crawling towards me, ladies and Carrie, I didn't know what it was. If you go back to the Jeep picture, go back further.
Eyes.
Are there bears there? Are there bears in the area?
Yeah, there's a chance, that there was. I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe a hog, but I didn't see anything upright and bipedal. It was low, and I'm thinking,
that's
what?
An apex cone-shaped head. And black is hot. The eyes are usually hotter. I see eyes.
Okay.
I just do. I mean, obviously not a clear picture, but
the reason it's blurry is because he's in grass. I mean, if you shined a spotlight there, all you would see is grass, folks, but you can see his left rear leg. And then in the next picture, you can see the extension of his elbow. He's crawling like a soldier. Yeah, like that. He's down on his elbows, crawling through that salt grass towards us to view us. And then he takes and turns on one side and swivels around. I call it the Burt Reynolds pose. Okay. And you can see here the thicker clumps of grass or maybe rocks that are in front of him in the grass. Again, if you turned on a spotlight and looked that direction, I've outlined him, in the enhancement for some people that have a problem with his position. But folks, this is a tactical position where he lays in the grass. He doesn't have to turn or swivel. He can reach out there and grab a rock and throw it my direction like a soldier tossing hand grenades, and he never has to raise up to do it. That to me is a well thought out. I mean, our military teaches that stuff,
Yeah, It's Joe Namath selling stockings.
But, you know, that's not a dumb animal by any means. That shows tactics, Gary, you know.
Yeah.
Any
even people
thoughts?
that are looking for them, they're just so hard to see. And even when you do happen to catch them, they're just not giving you very much. They're just not going to be out in the open.
No.
Patterson Gimlin, 53 years ago, or however long ago, it's 54 years ago almost. No, 54 years ago. Yeah. They were on horseback. I think that had everything to do with it, is because they were on horseback. I think if they had been just trekking through on foot, they would not have gotten that. How many other people have you heard of that go looking for these things on horseback? Very few that I can imagine, if any.
Not very many that I know of, you know.
So the best we got, these two guys were on horseback. That should scream to every researcher out there.
Well, I was in Montana. I didn't send those pictures, but we had gone to an opposing hillside looking back at our campsite. And I saw a heat signature up in the trees above camp on the opposite hill. We were kind of camped on one side of the valley next to that hill. And the other people saw it too with their thermals. And I just, I pointed it out. I've got a video. I can probably send that. It may not be that big. I'm not sure. And I don't think I'm not sure. I'd have to ask if they minded if I sent it, or I could send it without the audio. That I could do that. And we get back to camp later, and I don't know about anybody else, but when I turn in for bed, I'm through, folks. I don't care what's going on outside. I'm going to get my sleep. I've even had them come up in a travel trailer knocking on the wall. And I just told them, I said, would you leave me alone? I'm tired, please, and let me sleep. And they did. The trailer owner thought I was kind of, he was a newbie and was skeptical till he jumped one the following night going through our grill outside, picking hamburger patties, fallen hamburger patties out of it. Scared the daylights out of him, and he races back in the trailer and says, man, something big just ran out there. And I didn't look at him at first. I kind of played it a little bit, and I looked at him and I said, I told you so, There
would be 145 caliber size holes in my camper. I'm not kidding.
I don't know. They've messed with me. I haven't been fearful yet. Maybe I'm too passive or relaxed. I have fun with these subjects. I will say though, north of Yellowstone, I was with this group. It was in southwest Montana, north of Yellowstone. I'm in bed, okay, and I'm in a hard shell camper. I don't sleep in tents. I don't want them pushing on me through a tent, or something else. That's just not protection. I'm not paranoid. I kind of like to be safe, folks. I mean, I sleep in tents if I have to, if you carried it on a backpack, but I've got a hard shell camper. I put a little 10 by 10 covering over the back, and then I tarp it in. So I've got a 10 by 10 living room to change, do whatever, cook, do whatever I want. And I put a little porta potty tent so I don't have to go searching for bushes or anything. Well, my age, I'm good for about at least 2 trips to the little porta potty tent. So I'm out of the camper shell. I put the tailgate down. I go over to the porta potty tent, and it's about 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm right in the middle of my business when I hear heavy footsteps, probably within about 10 feet of my little campsite, and they're moving. I couldn't tell whether they were moving towards or away, but I hear a deep mm-hmm. Needless to say, folks, the faucet immediately turned off, and I was racing back into that camper shell. Okay.
Look, Rick, they make bedpans, they make buckets, they make catheters. There's all kinds of things you can do.
I've tried the bottle, and I spilled it one time when I was inside. Yeah, so that wasn't going to happen again. I mean, one spill was enough. That's not going to happen again.
It's sterile. It's sterile. It's all right.
But when I heard that huff, we were north of Yellowstone, and we had just seen a mother black bear and 2 cubs down the road, about a quarter mile that evening, earlier in the evening. I wasn't so sure what it was. And if it was a bear or a grizzly, I didn't really want to be outside, you know, that at least the glass and the metal. So I'm back inside that camper shell, and I'm listening and kind of looking. Now we had placed, I just had some motion detectors on each side of my vehicle in case something come up beside my vehicle. I would get a tone on the inside sleeping, and I'd know which way to look. Not that I was squatching, but if something's around there, I'd like to know. There were camera traps, and some people had some baited and put goodies out. Hey, all that stuff was moved. But the next morning, there were about a half dozen 15 by about 7.5, 8 foot prints leading from the general area of my porta potty tent back up towards that mountain. So they casted them. We've got, you know, casts of them. I could send the pictures, but apparently one of the big guys were there, you know, lurking around. You know, I don't know if he was peeking in on me through my little porta potty tent window and maybe laughing at me, you know, or something. I don't know, you know, but
well, look. There are people that long for that kind of interaction. Go out 2, 3 in the morning. That's what they want. And more power to them. My hat is off to anybody that wants to do that. I'm glad you people are out there doing it, because I'm not. Whatever my part in this is, it's not going after them. You know, I'll make films about people doing it, and I'll tell the stories. Fine. And look, and I know I'm not alone, and I'm not a little person, and I don't really have a very fearful sensibility. There's probably not a person on the planet that really scares me, but these things are just so unpredictable unless you just want to go. And look, we all have it to do. I get it, but I'm not ready just yet. And I definitely don't want people wondering what in the hell happened to me.
Right.
So why tempt that fate is my thing. But if you're doing that, have the camera going, have the recorder going, get some thermal going around you. Yeah. At least.
I did in Kentucky. I was with a group back in March. And to give it a little background, I'm Scots-Irish, Dutch, and German on my dad and part of my mother's side. But my grandmother on my mother's side was full-blood Cherokee Indian. Grandfather was mixed blood. And I show the light, you know, Scots-Irish, Dutch, and German more than anything else. And I'm proud of all the bloodlines. It's who I am. I can only be me. But the Cherokee storytellers talk about the Uni Udawahi. And the Uni Udawahi, loosely translated, is forest beings of the lost tribe. And in Cherokee history, they would put out edible roots and berries for the big guys. And in turn, the big guys would watch over them during hunting and gathering endeavors out in the field. Well, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, North and South Carolina, and parts of West Virginia were the original Cherokee land for thousands of years. So if there was a symbiote type relationship with these subjects, there may be a carryover. Well, I was out in March watching with a video, and it was at 100 yards, occluded by trees along the river bottom. I had a tall, upright thermal image pacing kind of back and forth through the trees and stopping and basically watching us. Didn't have a real clear image, but at times I thought I saw head and shoulders, you know, peering around. And I was standing there with a newbie, part of my passion, sharing with people. And he said, man, do you see something? Yeah, I said, I think I do. And I handed my thermal scope over to him. And I said, do you see anything? He said, yeah. He said, I can see the head and shoulders. You know, they're looking at us, which it made my night. You know, that alone, just having somebody else have that aha moment really means a lot to me when I'm out in the field. And about that time, there was a side creek coming up from the main creek, branching out, and was about 50 yards off to our right. And we're looking down this open area to the tree line along the river. And we start hearing subtle movement, you know, off to our right, which was flanking us. And I told the guy holding the scope, I said, did you hear that? And he goes, yeah, there's something moving off to our right. Well, there were other people with us behind us about 50 feet sitting in some folding chairs, and they were quietly talking. And I was videoing and had my digital recorder running. Well, I've always, and I've done this several times when I've been in Kentucky in areas of Cherokee land, you know, historically. I'm not fluent. My grandmother was fluent. My uncles, you know, they talked and, you know, back and forth and everything. I just know a few words, and probably everything I speak's got an English accent to it. But I told him, I said, hey, watch that one in the scope and tell me if he does anything. And then I pretty loudly said, "Gutta uste de judo." And I said, did he do anything? And the guy goes, no. I said, well, I'll say it louder. I said, "Gutta uste de judo." And at that point, I was asking him, what is your name in Cherokee? And he didn't do anything, but about 5 seconds after my question, verbiage to our right, very deep, was similar. And I'm not certain because of the people talking behind me, and I've listened to it over and over. It's a very gruff, one syllable. It sounds to me like "kla, kla," which is no in Cherokee. I'm not, you know, it maybe is not definitive, but I do think I got a reply from them. Don't know for sure. Maybe people could take the, you know, the audio and clean it up. But I have clearly got a night vision video of one not talking Cherokee, but appears to be Choctaw. That's real clear. It's in the background. Back before I had my close family encounter. And it's basically a warning to another third party, probably in slang. And it's pretty interesting stuff to hear. And I've talked to other people. Have any of you had stories of them speaking English or calling names or anything to people? Have you ever heard of that? Anybody heard of that?
Kevin Saunders.
Pardon me?
Kevin Saunders.
Kevin Saunders,
Okay.
Ontario Sasquatch, Mike Patterson.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one of my.
We haven't heard much from the ladies.
I know.
No.
Let me get a drink of water and we'll listen. I'll hush.
I know they gotta have questions.
I do have a question though. Go ahead, Daniela.
No, go on. You're all right.
When you were saying that they were watching the Jogger, do you think, just out of curiosity, because usually when people are jogging, they have a schedule, they have a routine, and they usually follow it pretty strictly. Do you think they were there potentially like watching for that jogger in particular?
My impression was this, that where this subject was standing, they had a very good tactical view of the stretch of trail that we were on at that point, which then curved around past us 90 degrees and went on for a little ways and then curved back again. The position where that subject would have been able to see the trail there from that point all the way around. It gave them 180 degree vision of that jogging trail. And I won't, I won't paint the dark side, but things are what they are. There have been several strange disappearances in that neck of the woods involving women. And if these things are as close to human as I think they are, a young rogue male could be very dangerous, possibly. I mean, I'm not saying it totally definitively, but my impression was this was a young male that I was looking at in the video, and that was a very attractive woman jogging. So go figure. The possibility is there.
Do you think they see attractive and ugly as any different? Just saying she wasn't particularly pretty. I don't think they know. I don't think they notice any difference, are they?
Hey, look, the majority of Europeans, Caucasian people have Neanderthal DNA in them. That makes you a hybrid. And it is not because some lady thought some Neanderthal was so handsome that he would go off, that she would just go off with him. She was taken. Okay. That is very, very safe to assume that the Neanderthals took the newcomers and mated with them. Sasquatch probably does the same thing.
Yeah, you have that drawing.
I've seen people that
really, really handsome with blue eyes.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, you're looking for him. He's out there looking for you.
Wow.
It's interesting this position here, and
yes,
also the ones that are up in the tree. And this is why I personally don't think they may need to make blinds to hunt. I mean, you can throw a rock from that tree with their aim and kill a deer, and sat in that position, they can just sit quiet. I'm pretty sure one rock. It's just I just think why they want to hide from everybody, but they leave evidence of themselves being there by leaving a blind.
Sure.
Yeah. Don't even have to throw a rock. I went hunting with a guy growing up, Daniel Wilczak. Okay. Did not take a gun to deer hunt. Took a spear. He would get in a tree, put corn at the bottom, and when the deer came, he would jump down on the deer. And he killed them all the time. All the time. Would not take a gun. Hunted with a spear. So, I mean, if Daniel Wilczak can do it, these things probably could do the same thing. You just...
Their accuracy, from my experience, is phenomenal. I was in a river bottom in Oklahoma. I was with several people, one of which was a retired NASA engineer. The other one was an active police officer. And we were back in there taking a break. They were sitting down. The retired NASA engineer was sitting on a root knot on one side of this oak tree. The active police officer, public safety officer, was on the other side of this oak tree that I'd estimate to be about 3 feet in diameter, maybe a little larger. It was a big old oak tree. We're standing and sitting there in the pitch dark, folks. And all of a sudden, I've got an audio of it. You can hear the thing snap and pop against the tree. In that 3 foot width of that oak tree, a limb about 2.5, 3 feet long and about 5 inches in diameter, by no means something small. If it had hit either one of them, could have seriously injured them. It smacked the side of that tree between those two gentlemen, and the older guy didn't even hear it. The other guy, he was the nervous one. And when I glanced over there and turned on my thermal, that limb was still spinning on the ground with that much energy from the velocity. Now, how they did it, how we didn't hear that limb coming through the canopy or the brush, I don't know. But, that happened there. And up on the ridge in that same area, I was with two other guys, and we were sitting by a campfire in folding chairs. And I have never, folks, had this much stuff tossed at us. Now, none of us were hit, but limbs, pieces of bark, rocks, just rolling in from, we would try, it was almost like a game and we'd say, oh, okay, those two came from, and we would kind of get the area figured out. Then they'd start coming in from, it was like a game with them. I guess we were their Saturday night entertainment of which direction the stuff was coming from. And I actually got thermal of one up in a tree. I'd call him the fire control officer. I can send you those pictures for a clip. The one guy got up. I was standing behind him with my thermal trying to get some pretty good video. And he got up and he said, can't you guys throw this stuff closer instead of making me get up to go pick it up? Now there's sarcasm and joking there, okay? Within 5 seconds, folks, and I've got two witnesses that are witnesses to what happened. I hear the thump in the guy's chair. I'm standing behind his chair. I hear the thump and look down, and there's a quarter-sized rock in the chair. Now, you tell me if that doesn't have humor, banter, intellect, cognitive thinking. They were joking with us.
Do you think, how there was the coup was a thing, that was a big thing, to come up to your enemy and just be able to touch them and get away, unscathed. And that perplexes me if that's a behavior that is also, indicative of this species as well. I don't know.
We're all individuals. Some people like to do certain things. And I think to try to categorize each and every one and put them in a mold is tough to do. What in my experience, the older ones don't really want to mess with anybody, but your younger juveniles seem to play a game of how close they can get to you without being observed. They'll belly crawl, they'll side peek. And I think what really freaks them out is when they're there and they don't get any kind of reaction from you. That kind of freaks them out a little bit. I don't know. I just know I've had a blast doing this. I go out there and I just hang out with these various groups. I don't try to stalk them or hunt them or bait them or drive them. I just go out there and chill out and kind of let them come to us. And I've been very successful in that. They trust or appear to trust me. I don't make a big deal of it. At the same time, I'm always aware. I'm always prepared to defend myself if needs be. I don't unconditionally trust them. If they are as human-like as I figure they are, there are dangerous rogues out there. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Not trying to open up a big paranormal can of worms, but there's been a lot of study on infrasound, different things. I was hog hunting. I wasn't squatching. That didn't even enter my mind. A friend of mine had a hog problem down in central Texas. I went down there. We scouted out his 160 acres, which was adjacent to a game preserve. So go figure, there was a lot of land down in there where nobody ever goes into or hunts. And wildlife really takes off, especially the hog. And we got a game plan together of the areas we were going to hunt. Well, right before the side-by-side ATV, we got back to his barn and it was turning dark. He got a Texas-sized thorn in his right front wheel and it went flat. Well, he was looking for the spare. He couldn't find the spare, looking for his patch kit, couldn't find his patch kit, yada, yada, yada. Finally, he looked at me and he said, Rick, man, I'm sorry. He said, look, you're either going to have to come back after I get this tire fixed or hunt by yourself. I did the foolish thing of going out there on foot by myself and going to set up in a couple of these areas. And carry out wasn't a wise idea. Okay. Wasn't at all. Not in the dark. nowhere to run, hide, or climb. But I had an LR308 on a ready sling with many extra magazines with me.
That's plenty.
40.
That's plenty.
I had a 45 cocked and locked on my hip with extra. I mean, I was well armed, but all it would take is a big boar to come around behind me and slice my Achilles and get me on the ground, and I'd be history, you know?
Yeah.
So I was back in there very cautious. I stayed in the open meadow areas, you know, scouting the tree lines. And I got about halfway back in that 160 acres, and I began to hear movement along this grove of trees. So I started easing up, and my 308 had a night sight on it. And I was using the flare to locate my target. And then once I located it, I was going to bring that 308 up, fire up the scope, and identify my target before I ever took a shot. Well, I kept hearing something, so I started easing across this meadow, probably knee-deep thin, not real thick, but knee to thigh-deep grass. I could still see the ground if it needs be. And I got probably within about 30 yards. Now, anything in that grove of trees watching me come up, I had the 308 scoped hanging off a ready sling, and my 45, I probably didn't look too user-friendly, you know. And my left arm was swinging loose. I had the flare up to my, you know, face, trying to locate what was in that grove of trees. Now, my first career was public safety, law enforcement, and in the police academy, we were required to take a hit off of a taser so we'd know what it would do. And it wasn't at the top of my list of training. You know, I don't like it. I don't like what it does to you, but I had to take a taser hit. I don't know where it came from. And a lot of people go, "You're kidding." No, I'm telling you, I'll take a lie detector test. I'm telling you the truth. My free swinging left hand felt like somebody hit me on my palm with a taser. And I immediately, my left arm went up and seized, you know, it incapacitated my left arm. I jumped and swiveled to my left to see what in the world, you know, and I turned on the bright cap light. I didn't have any lights on then. Turned on a bright white cap light, looking at the grass, expecting to see maybe a rattlesnake or a water moccasin or a snake that bit me or a big spider web. That was my first thought, something bit me, you know. And I didn't see anything. There was no electric fence there. There wasn't a snake. There wasn't anything slithering off. I mean, I covered the ground pretty good. Well, within about a minute, my hand began to relax. I mean, I could feel the shock going up my nerve bundles and seizing my arm. If that, whatever it was, would have been focused to my entire body, I'd have been on the ground, probably curled up in a fetal position, totally incapacitated. I tend to think, and I don't know to this day exactly why or what, but I've been several theories, or there was somebody giving me a little brushback warning that you don't need to be doing this. You know, I mean, I actually, when I got action in my hand going again, I even raised my hand and said, "Okay, I can take a hint. I'm through."
You know, the exact same thing happened during 168 to Mike Velez.
Really?
Part two. Yeah, it's going to be in part two.
Except, really?
Yes. They're walking down the canal or a trail going in at night, and he's got a light. This light's this long in his hand.
Right.
And he's walking along, and this light shoots out of his hand. He said he felt the hit, and it shoots out of his hand 6 feet out in front of him. And he had, I think it might have been either Chris Noel or Clay Campbell, stopped. No, it was Jimmy Barr, stopped them.
Right.
Said, "Whoa, something just knocked the light out of my hand." This is in the middle of dark. Now, there's three thermals going on.
Right.
And didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. All he felt was that light come out of his hand. And now to go back a little bit, and you're talking about these things being able to hide. people would be absolutely amazed if they saw where a lot of the images we have were gotten. It is so close to civilization, to people across the canal from a golf course, 200 yards from Beeline Highway. I mean, this is not off in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
This is, they're just that good. Not to mention people not looking for them. Most people are just not looking for them. Even they're hard enough to get when you are looking for them. But where these creatures get to watch us, and why they do it, who knows? But why wouldn't you? Think about this. Put yourself in their position. If you knew what a gun was, especially, you're in the woods hiding. Pretend you are a Sasquatch and you're seeing people, and you have a camera in your hand, looks like a gun. You have anything in your hand, you're not going to show yourself. You're going to do everything you can to stay away from that, because whether it kills them or not, it's still going to hurt. It's not going to feel good getting shot. Even if it's a 22, it's going to hurt. Of course, they're going to hide from us, because what happens? First, they probably know they scare us. Second, what do we do when we're scared? Most people start defending yourself. If you have a gun and you see this, chances are, I think that's why they're so aggressive in the big thicket area. East Texas, South Mississippi, Louisiana, up to Southeast Oklahoma. There's a lot of good old country boys just shooting. Getting shot at will make you not like people very much. So that's just something I think that people that don't buy into this very much, and look, the one thing I've learned doing this for long enough is that most people have a willingness to blind themselves to things that they just don't want to believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want to ruin their sanctuary, for lack of a better term. It has to be something. It would have to be something right up on them for them to see that they're not going to be able to explain away, to buy into it. And it's unfortunate. And that's why here we don't ask people to believe. Just be aware. Just consider it when you're out there. Prepare yourself.
The only time I've ever been growled at was in southeastern Oklahoma. I was there with my wife, her cousin, and a great childhood friend. And it took me back a little bit. I had noticed a side peeker off the trail, very subtle, but I picked it up. And I got off the trail to try to coax him out from behind the tree so that my cousin, my wife, and good, friend, he's like a brother to me, we grew up together, could see one, and this joker growled at me, which kind of took me back. And then I tried to do a little more coaxing, and that growl became much more affirmative, and intense. And I just put my hand up and I said, okay, big boy, I can take the hint. And I backed away. I didn't push the issue. Of course, I looked back, my childhood buddy friend was racing up the trail out of there as fast as he could. He didn't want any part of seeing anything.
Did you have a gun or a camera?
No, I didn't have my camera. It was up in the cabin.
Did you have a gun?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I had a gun.
That's rare to me. Because most
So
people that have these experiences, they don't have either. They don't have a gun. They don't have a camera.
No. The gun saved my life. I got jumped by 3 pit bulls squatching one time by myself. And if I hadn't had one of my 45s with me, I probably wouldn't be on this podcast now. They would have ate me up. But
ladies, do y'all have any questions before we're way past?
Yeah.
Well, I say way past. We're a little bit past. Ladies, you guys got any questions before we roll on out of here?
Oh, I could talk to him for hours, but
Well, if y'all want to stay, that's fine with me.
No, it's 1 o'clock and I've got work.
Yeah.
But
I got to be out at 5.
I just wanted to say, people do get that don't go any further feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, for me, I don't think they, like you say, I'm not saying you feel safe among them, but I know, like, Shane Carpenter spent 5 years in the 400, never been attacked by them or anything like that. So, maybe there is the odd rogue ones, but I think, like you say, they give off that don't come any closer feeling. And I've spoke to several people who have felt that and just backed off immediately. So, and I think, Kerry, that, they probably scare everything in the woods. Maybe I would think so. I mean, what wouldn't they scare? What would they get on with, or what wouldn't, be running away from it? Who knows? I don't know.
Baby pigeons. If you watch Harry and the Hendersons,
there you go. Then there you go. Baby pigeons.
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? I don't know.
No. There you go.
There it is. See.
Yeah, he thought that's funny as well.
Well, look, it's Rick. It's been awesome, great show. Thank you, Jackie Iron Dogger. I know this is usually y'all's show, but I said I'd be here with Rick next time he came on. Appreciate you so much for coming back, and I know you've got a ton more that we can definitely get into, and maybe the ladies will get into that. I am going to go work on the film for a little while.
Good luck.
If you weren't here for the beginning, I put 6 hours in. I got a lot of it done. I got about an hour left to finish it. Just one little montage at the end that's going to go in. And I'll go back and tighten everything up.
Good deal.
I may get it done tonight. I don't know. Definitely tomorrow, I think. If not tomorrow, then Tuesday, the film will be done. So we'll probably premiere it Saturday, just so we can talk about it with the guys Friday night. And then Wednesday, I think we'll let the members will be able to watch it, and we'll see. We'll see what everybody thinks.
Good luck.
It's got Sasquatch in it.
Good luck, man. That sounds good. Excellent.
People are definitely going to have to question our integrity if they don't believe what's in it. They're going to have to say we got guys out there in masks or whatever. But I would challenge anyone to find that mask. I must be making them. Just go find that mask on Amazon or anywhere else.
All that spare time you have, Carrie.
Yeah, all that spare time that I have, that I had to make those 30 masks. So, the film's done. I may finish it tonight. I may just go ahead and power through and get it done. If not, I'll definitely do it tomorrow because tomorrow's a long day. I got to be out early. But thanks again, Rick, for showing up.
You're most welcome.
We'll see you guys here Wednesday. We don't know who's going to be on just yet, but we'll figure it out.
All right.
Good. We always do something. Wednesday, 7:00 p.m. Central. Hope to see you guys then. Y'all take care and have a good night.
All right. Bye, Carrie.
Bye.